Good morning, Jake. Hope you're well there in France.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Jake, how has it been so far over the past few days? Obviously, a lot of introspection after the Ulster game where it was a better performance, but the result wasn't forthcoming, and now it's a knockout rugby.
Yeah, Ashfaq, I mean, nothing's changed. I mean, we're still obviously needing to get a result. But, as I said, it was a much better performance. We're now in a knockout game against one of the best sides in Europe. So, as I said, people often use the phrase, doesn't get tougher than this, but having coached here, I know how big sort of rugby is in Toulouse and how sort of good they are when it comes to this quarter competition. I think they've won it 5 times and they've played in a couple other finals. So, yeah, I mean, it's a big ask for us this week, but we're looking forward to it.
It was, I don't know if you could say this, but it was almost a similar space in the Leinster semi-final last year. Last season, where it was nobody expected you to win, and there's this powerhouse team, and now to lose is almost like that kind of bracket. Does that give you a bit of inspiration, the Leinster semi-final, that you can pull it off again against the odds?
Yeah, Ashfaq, look, I mean, I think at sports teams, you're all looking at different things, and you're looking at ways in which you can win. You try and find some confidence out of things that happened in the past. Ironically, one of the things that happened this time last year, or when we played Leinster and beat them, is that Toulouse had been hammered by Leinster in the semi-finals of the Heineken Cup as well. So, literally at the time that we beat Leinster, it was the same sort of time that they were good enough to beat Toulouse as well, and comfortably in the semi-final. So there's a lot of positives to take out of that, in that we know we can do it. We know that our squad's good enough. If we play well enough, there's no reason why we can't get a result. And like anything, I've said it to you many times, Ashfaq, winning creates confidence, losing creates doubt. And it's no different whatever sporting code you're in. And we just got to keep working hard. We just got to keep believing. And when that thing turns, then obviously we'll appreciate the winning a lot more.
But I guess also in the same breath, Jake, we can't really look past all those big names as Intermark, Bai, Marchand. The list goes on. Capuazzo at the back there, Jellons. So we can go on. It's almost like the whole French team there.
Yeah, well, I mean, Ashfaq, exactly that. Last year we played the whole Irish team, a lot of those players went on to win the Grand Slam and the Six Nations this year as well. So, yeah, I mean, it is where we are, Ashfaq. It is where we are as a group. We don't have the list of international players that other teams around us have. But there's no use, as I said, there's no use trying to control things you can't control. What we can control is the fact that we need to play well this weekend. And, it's a great opportunity to measure ourselves. We want to be part of this competition for a long time. I've said it also many times. A team like Racing Metro have never won this Heineken Cup, and they've had some incredible teams that they've put on the field in the last couple of years as well. So there's no given that you need to win it, or you have to win it, or you sort of it's a long service. If you play in a long time, you win it. Some teams can play it a long time and never ever get close to winning it. So, we're in the top 16 in our first year. We get to play a side like Toulouse, as I said, who've won it 5 times, with some incredible names. I mean, some of the best players in the world, if not, people talk about Dupont as the best player in the world, and if he's not, he must be very, very close. So, that sort of player as their general French team that's favourites, one of the favourites to win the World Cup. A French team playing at home, a French team playing in the year of a World Cup where there's so much at stake for those players to make sure they do well in big games so that their national coaches pick them. So, yeah, I mean, as you rightly say, it's you can't get away from that, but we can only control what we can control, and that's prepare as well as we can this week.
Hi, Jake. Hope you're well. You mentioned Dupont there. I mean, a lot of coaches and senior players have tried to come up with ways to sort of put him off his game or to stop him. Is there actually a way of doing that? I mean, you've also coached some great scrum halves in your past as well. Is there a way that you can sort of disrupt him?
Yeah, Dylan. I mean, I'm sure there are ways, and I'm not gonna divulge those ways. But I mean, we've played against sides when I was coaching South Africa who had, for argument's sake, one game that comes to mind is the Argentinian team when they had Augustin Pichot playing there, and he was as important to Argentinian rugby as Antoine Dupont is to the French team and to Toulouse. So, but I mean, I think the one way anything happens to any players, you build pressure, and pressure, as I said, changes actions of players. It happens in all sports. You watch what pressure does to golfers, you watch what pressure does to teams in the back end of a competition, you look at the last 10 minutes of a game, what pressure does to decision making, and I think that's the key. We've got to build pressure, we've got to find ways in which the whole team collectively can put pressure on their opposition, and I think that filters to the decision makers as it does to us. So there's nothing unique about trying to understand in sport how you build pressure.
Hi Jake, hope everything all the best for the weekend. You guys are playing Toulouse, Sharks are playing Munster, and the Stormers are playing Harlequins. Do you think these games will be a marker or test to see where South African teams are when they stand in Europe at the moment?
Do I think, sorry Warren, you broke up there, do I think what?
This weekend's games will be a marker or a test to see where the top South African teams stand in Europe at the moment.
Yeah, it's just another marker. I don't think it is the marker. I think it is another marker. Considering if you go through the form, and I'm not for 1 minute saying it's not going to stay like that, but if you go Leinster, all things being equal, Leinster and Toulouse are the two favourites on our side of the pool, and the other side of the pool you've got Saracens, Exeter and La Rochelle. That's without the South African side. So, these weekends are massive, but I mean they don't get any easier. So let's just say, team wins. Say, let's example, Stormers win. They've got to play Exeter, then they've got to play Saracens or La Rochelle, and then they've got to play Leinster or Toulouse. I mean, there's not many bigger games in club rugby. In fact, there are no bigger club games in club rugby than those consecutively. So it's not just this weekend. I think it's a great measurement for South African rugby as a whole to see where we are as a union when we play against some of the best players in the world.
Jake, just a sense of occasion. I mean, you've been at Montpellier and you know how the French crowd gets into it, and you guys experienced Lyon early in the season. Just what can the guys expect, and what will be your advice to the players in terms of how to handle that?
Well, I mean, the one thing which is interesting, we're not playing at their home stadium, which holds 19,500 people. I think they've decided
I wanted to ask, it earns value on their normal stadium, but they're playing at a bigger stadium.
Correct. Now they're playing in the football stadium that holds 33,000 people, which means they've obviously sold a lot of tickets, means the game's going to be bigger. It's all, again, all credit to the competition, all credit to the fact that they see the Bulls as a big game, that they've moved it to a bigger venue. So Ashfaq, it's going to be, an incredible occasion for us as well. Another occasion for this group of players. Just listening just now to another question, I was thinking when you asked me that, imagine if we could have every player who's playing in the Heineken Cup that's South African to be back in the South African franchises. You got Alstad, you got Cheslin Colby, you've got all the guys playing this weekend. I mean, just the top of my head, but there's so many. Jason Jenkins playing for Leinster, R16 Snyman playing for Munster. If you just put all those players into the South African conferences, then obviously it would be so much better. So, someone asked me just now about the measurement of where we are as a group. It is a measurement of where we are. It probably reaffirms that we, as I said, we haven't done too badly, considering we've got about 300 of our best players playing abroad. We don't have the Malcolm Marxes, we don't have the Lou de Jagers, we don't have the R16 Snyman, Jason Jenkinses, Vian Liebenbergs, Hendro Liebenbergs, Jasper Wieses. I mean, the list goes on. Jacques Vermeulen. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Ivan van Zyl. The more I think about it, Faf de Klerk, Kobus Reinach. I mean, the bottom line is we're not doing too badly for a country that's had a massive amount of their best players exported overseas. So it is a great measurement for us, and it'll be nice to see in our first year how we equal out and what we probably need to go forward. And that's part of it as well. It's part of what I've continually been talking to our group and to obviously to our shareholders is where are we? What do we need? What do we need to grow? What do we need to change? And that's why I said great occasion this weekend to see how good we are against some of the best players in the world.